Next, we crochet the tail of a little whale. First, take out the pastel yarn. Wrap the yarn around your left hand. Start with the pinky. Then wrap around the index finger, finally forming a loop on the middle finger. Hold the loop with your thumb. Insert the crochet hook into the loop to start stitching. Hold the hook with your right hand. Directly insert the hook into the loop. Pull the yarn through the hook. Pull the yarn through from the loop. Turn the hook from facing us to parallel. At this point, a loop forms on the hook. The height of this loop can be adjusted by the hook. If the loop is too small, threading will be difficult. If the hook is too loose, the tail will be very large. Control the loop to accommodate the height of two hooks simultaneously. During each crocheting process, control the loop to accommodate two hooks simultaneously. This is the degree of neither loose nor tight. Then pull through the yarn. This is our foundation stitch. This is the foundation stitch we need to hook first in the crocheting process. After hooking the foundation stitch, we begin to crochet the first round of the tail. The first round requires crocheting 6 single crochets. Let's start crocheting the first single crochet. Pull the loop to the middle of the hook. Adjust the size of the loop. Hold the loop with your right hand index finger. Insert the hook into the loop. Pull the yarn through the loop. There are 2 loops on the hook. Pull the yarn through these 2 loops. This is our first single crochet. Once hooked, you should see a V shape from the side. This V shape is our first stitch. Use a stitch marker to pull the entire V shape through. Marking the first stitch of the first round. Next, crochet the second single crochet. Insert the hook into the loop and pull the yarn through. Pull the yarn through again, around both loops. This is our second single crochet. Continue crocheting the third single crochet. Insert the hook into the loop and pull the yarn through. Pull the yarn through again. This is my third single crochet. Continue to insert the hook into the loop and pull the yarn through. Pull the yarn through again. Insert the hook into the loop and pull the yarn through. Pull the yarn through again. 5 stitches. Continue. Insert the hook into the loop and pull the yarn through. Pull the yarn through again. 6 stitches. After completing the first round of 6 single crochets, we tighten the yarn end. After tightening the yarn end, we close the first round. Connect the last stitch with the first stitch. A slip stitch is needed. During crocheting, the slip stitch also needs to insert into the first stitch and pass through the entire stitch. Wrap the yarn around the hook and pull it directly from the first stitch. At this point, there are 2 loops on the hook. Pull the last loop directly from the hook. Then tighten the loop. In this way, the first round is completed. The last stitch is a slip stitch made between the last and the first stitch. I just demonstrated how to make a slip stitch. After completing the first round, start crocheting the second round. Before starting the second round, hook a chain stitch as the foundation stitch. When crocheting a circular tail, a chain stitch is needed as the foundation stitch before each round. At the end of each round, make a slip stitch as the finishing stitch. After hooking the chain stitch for the second round, start crocheting the second round. Crochet 1 single crochet into each stitch. A total of 6 single crochets. Start crocheting the first single crochet. The first single crochet is positioned at the marker of the first round. The first stitch of each round. Its function is, first, to connect with the last stitch as a slip stitch at the end. Then at the beginning of the next round, to crochet the first stitch. Where the marker was placed. During crocheting, always find the first stitch of each round. Start crocheting the first single crochet of the second round. Now remove the marker from the first round. It's no longer needed. Use the marker to indicate the first stitch of the second round. Continue crocheting the second single crochet. The third single crochet. The fourth single crochet. The fifth single crochet. The sixth single crochet. After crocheting 6 single crochets, it's necessary to slip stitch with the first stitch again. Crochet a slip stitch. Pull the yarn directly from the first stitch. At this point, there are 2 loops on the hook. Pull the last loop directly through the previous loop, tightening the loop. Alright, we have finished crocheting the second round. Next, let's continue crocheting the third round. The crocheting pattern for the third round is the same as the second round. Crochet 1 single crochet in each stitch. First, crochet a chain stitch as the foundation stitch. Then crochet 1 single crochet in each stitch. Mark it again with a marker. Then crochet the second single crochet. The third single crochet. The fourth single crochet. The fifth single crochet. The sixth single crochet. Each V represents a stitch. Crochet 1 single crochet in each stitch. A total of 6 single crochets. After crocheting 6 single crochets, we need to slip stitch with the first stitch again. Insert the hook into the first stitch. Pull the yarn directly through the loop. Alright, the third round is complete. We need to crochet 2 toes. First, crochet a chain stitch. Then cut the yarn. There's no need to leave a tail here, just leave a small tail. We still need to crochet another tail. Wrap the yarn. Crochet a chain stitch. The first stitch. The second stitch. The third stitch. The fourth stitch. the 5th stitch, the 6th stitch. Tighten the loop and connect it to the 1st stitch. Alright, continue with the 2nd round of the 2nd row, then crochet 6 single crochets in the 2nd round. 1 stitch, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. After 6 single crochets, we need to slip stitch with the 1st stitch again. If you're unsure which one is the 1st stitch, you can count backward from the last stitch. 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. That's our 1st stitch. Then what's the V shape in front? That's the starting stitch for the 2nd round. Starting stitches in each round are not counted as stitches. Similarly, slip stitches in each round are not counted as stitches. So we skip the slip stitch and then proceed to find the 1st stitch. The chain stitch 2nd round is completed. Crochet a chain stitch as the starting stitch for the 3rd round. The 3rd round requires 6 single crochets. 1, 2, 3. Throughout the crocheting process, always keep the V shapes facing towards us. The other side facing away from us. Then continue crocheting the 6th stitch. Okay, after we finish crocheting, we slip stitch with our 1st stitch. Because we have crocheted 2 tails, these 2 tails need to be joined together. We need crochet the connection. During the joining, at this position, it is our 3rd round. After crocheting 6 short stitches, we need to slip stitch with another to join the 2 together. Insert the hook directly into the 1st stitch. Do to pull through for now. Normally, we would slip stitch now, but for now, do not pull through. Insert the hook into the 1st stitch of the next tail. Which is also the slip stitch. Insert into the 1st stitches of 2 tails. We insert the hook into the 1st stitch of both tails here. At this point, there are 2 tails on our hook. One is the tail we are currently crocheting, and the other is the tail we just crocheted. Then bring the thread together and slip stitch it out of the loop. Then pull it directly out of the loop. Now our 2 tails are joined together. After joining them together, we can crochet the 4th round. First, crochet a chain stitch as the starting stitch for the 4th round. Okay, after crocheting it, since the 2 joints in our 4th round are just at one position, we still need to crochet them together. So in our 4th round, we need to crochet 1 short stitch in each stitch to make them into a hole. Crochet the stitches on the 1st tail. Crochet 6 single crochets at the slip stitch position. Crochet the 1st single crochet. The 1st single crochet is completed. Mark it with a stitch marker. During the joining process, the 1st single crochet is not easy to find. Make sure to place a stitch marker first. After crocheting the 1st stitch, continue crocheting the 2nd stitch. Crochet along the entire piece. Next, crochet the 2nd stitch. The 3rd stitch. The fourth stitch. The fifth stitch. The sixth stitch. There are 6 stitches in one stitch. After crocheting 6 stitches, the first tail is finished. There are many yarn tails here. These yarn tails, some are from the beginning, and some were just cut. We tuck them all inside the tail. It will not affect crocheting. Tuck away all the yarn tails. The 6 stitches of the first tail are done. Continue crocheting the second stitch. The 6 stitches of the first tail are completed. After completing the 6 stitches, start crocheting the second stitch. Count from the stitch marker here. The stitch marker is the first stitch. Total of 6 stitches. The first tail is completed. Continue connecting with the second tail. Carefully locate the first stitch. The slip stitch was the first stitch. Don't miss this stitch. Otherwise, the stitch count will be incorrect. Okay, look at the second tail. Insert the hook into the stitch where the 2 tails are connected. Okay, the position where the 2 are connected is this stitch. Insert the hook into this stitch to crochet the first stitch. If you make a mistake, you can undo it. This is the first stitch of the second tail. Also, it's the 7th stitch. Continue with the 8th stitch. The 9th stitch. The 10th stitch. The 11th stitch. The 12th stitch. That's correct. During the crocheting process, if you miscount the stitches, there might be a mistake in the middle. Making mistakes is normal. Don't be afraid of making mistakes. Making mistakes is normal. Undo to the point of the mistake and start over. Now, 12 single crochets are done. Slip stitch with the first stitch. The first stitch is especially important. Without a stitch marker, it's easy to lose track. Make sure to find it clearly. Insert the hook into the slip stitch of the first stitch. Pull the loop tight. The 2 tails are fully connected. The 4th round is completed. The 2 tails are also joined into one. Crochet the 5th round. The pattern for the 5th round is, for single crochets, 1 decrease, repeated twice. Start with a slip stitch as a turning chain. Then, insert the hook into the first stitch, which is also where we placed the stitch marker. Make sure to accurately find the stitch marker's position to insert the hook and crochet the first single crochet. This is our first single crochet. Let me mark this spot again. Because need to connect 2 tails. I'm concerned you might not find the first stitch clearly, so make sure to put a stitch marker. After crocheting the first stitch, continue crocheting along the tail. When it's hard to see, you can tighten it. This way, our stitches become larger, and we can find the hole. Let's continue to the second stitch. The 3rd stitch. The 4th stitch. After crocheting for single crochets, we need to crochet a decrease. For the decrease, we merge the 2 original stitches into one. Insert the hook into the front loop of the first stitch. the front loop only. Then insert it into the front loop of the other stitch. This way, we've inserted into the front loops of 2 stitches simultaneously. Pull the yarn through these 2 loops. Then, with 2 loops left, pull the yarn through these 2 loops again. This is how a decrease is crocheted. Now we have 5 stitches. For single crochets and 1 decrease are done, I'll crochet next group for single crochet and 1 decrease. You can see that these 2 stitches are already decreased. Now, I'll insert the hook into the next stitch. Make sure you watch closely. These 2 stitches are used up. I'll crochet the next stitch. From the front, it's a small V shape, same V shape we used to join earlier. This stitch. This is the 5th stitch. Can you see that? 1 single crochet. This is our 5th stitch. Continue with the 5th. The 7th. The 8th. Okay. Only 2 stitches left, which means we are right. Continue with a decrease. If it's not 2 stitches left, only 1 stitch is left, maybe you found the wrong first stitch. Undo it and find the correct stitch to insert the hook. Okay, let it do the last decrease. Insert the front loop first, then the next front loop. Pull the yarn through those 2 loops. Pull through again. A decrease completes. For single crochets and 1 decrease, we have done 2 groups. After that, we should get 10 stitches. Let's count from the stitch marker. This is also our first stitch. Can you see that? Okay, let's count. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, including the last one. It's 10 stitches in total. This round is finished. Slip stitch with the first stitch. Cut the yarn then. It's 5 rounds in total. Are your piece the same with mine? This is the tail of the little whale. Leave the yarn tails a bit longer for sewing them to the main body later. Is what you've hooked correct?